The Galactic Council was in full session. Leaders from many alien worlds sat around a wide, glowing table. Lights flickered above their heads as the air inside the room grew tense. The humans had just walked out. No speech, no message, no farewell. The human ambassador, tall and quiet, had simply stood up, turned around, and left the room without a word. A deep silence followed. No one dared to speak for a full minute. Then, Council Leader Virex broke the silence with a confused voice. Was that it? Are the humans done? Ambassador Keltri of the Zelani race looked pale, her face trembling. They ended the talks just like that. They said nothing, shouted General Krax of the Thaler. How can we take that seriously? No threats, no warning. But someone in the back, a young officer from a small moon colony, whispered, "That was the warning." Eyes turned to him. "I studied human history," he said quietly. "They don't shout when they're serious, they go quiet." Council Leader Virex sat back in his chair. He had laughed when the humans had asked for fair trade routes. He had laughed when the humans wanted a seat of equal power on the council. Primitive planet, he had said, still new to the stars. Now he wasn't laughing. Just 2 days before, Earth had given a final proposal: fair talks, respect, and peace. Most council members had rejected it. Some had insulted the human ambassador openly. "You speak like you matter," one alien diplomat had said. Earth is still learning to walk in space. Now humans were no longer speaking. "Where are they now?" asked a high-ranking alien general. A silent scan of space was ordered. Human ships had left all council channels. Earth had gone dark. No messages, no diplomats, no signals. Even their satellite systems had changed. A deep firewall now blocked any outside scans. Earth had sealed itself off. "They have never done this before," Keltri said. Virex looked at the screen showing Earth's last known ship positions. They were gone. Not destroyed, not moved. Just missing. As if hidden by something smarter than council tech. General Krax stood up. "What do we fear? They are just one planet." "No," came a soft voice. It was the young officer again. They were one planet. That was 10 years ago. Since then, they've spread across 12 systems. They build fast. And they never forget an insult. The council grew uneasy. A decision was made to send a small diplomatic ship to Earth, just to ask, what happened? Were talks truly over? Could there still be peace? The ship returned the next day. Inside it were only empty seats, and a message scratched into a wall inside the ship. "You had your chance." That was all. Panic started to grow. The council tried again, this time a full envoy with gifts and apologies. But this ship never returned. It simply vanished. "We must prepare our defenses," someone shouted. "What if it's already too late?" asked another. Meanwhile, in a dark chamber deep within the council's command center, a small group of scientists analyzed a strange signal picked up on a deep frequency. It was human, but encoded. It repeated a phrase every 10 minutes. "Operation Silence is active." No one knew what that meant. No one had heard of it before. It wasn't in any public human files. It wasn't a known military term. General Krax, once so bold, now looked pale. He called a meeting with Virex in private. "I served in the border wars," he said. "I saw human soldiers then. When they're loud, they're angry. When they're quiet." He stopped speaking. His eyes showed fear. "What?" Virex asked. "Say it." "When they're quiet," Krax said slowly, "they're planning something you'll never be ready for." Virex dismissed him, but deep inside he felt it too. The silence wasn't peace. It was the kind of silence that comes just before the storm. The council finally agreed to watch Earth systems more closely. Surveillance probes were sent. Only a few returned. What they saw was strange. Cities were powered off, skies quiet, factories not running. But satellites still moved. Defense systems still glowed. Something was awake on Earth, but it wasn't the people. One alien observer watching from a stealth ship reported seeing long black machines moving across the surface, machines with no windows, no pilots. They were like shadows, the observer said. They didn't look at us, they didn't need to. Then the feed cut out. Back on the Council homeworld, fear turned to dread. Old war veterans started whispering stories about the early days, when humans fought with everything they had even when they were losing. They don't stop, one old general said. They only stop when you're gone, or when you surrender. Council leader Virex looked out his wide window into space. The stars no longer looked peaceful. Somewhere out there, Earth was waiting, not for peace, not for talks. They had ended the talks, and now, no one knew what was coming. The Council chamber felt heavier than before. Tension hung in the air like smoke. No one smiled now. The news was spreading fast. Earth had gone silent, their ships had vanished, and 2 Council envoy ships had disappeared without a trace. Virex sat at the head of the great table, his face pale and cold. "We need answers," he said. "Now." He ordered his best spies to investigate the humans, find where their ships went, find out what Operation Silence meant. And most of all, find out if humans were preparing for war. Far across the galaxy, in a hidden base near the edge of human territory, a small Council spy ship hovered in deep space. Inside, Agent Luro of the Tarek species listened to strange transmissions, static, numbers, a voice repeating words in calm English. "Operation Silence is active. Stand by." The voice was not robotic. It was human, but flat. Like it didn't care who was listening. Luro's eyes narrowed. "They're sending a signal to someone," he said to his pilot. "But who?" Back at the Council headquarters, Council scientists tried to decode the human message. After hours of work, one scientist finally spoke. "It's not a message," he said. "It's a command signal. It's being sent to machines." "Machines?" asked the general. "Yes," the scientist replied. "Not soldiers, not fleets. Machines. And they are waking up." That same day, across several parts of Council space, strange things started happening. An unmanned station near the border with human space stopped responding. A scout ship went offline. No explosion, no distress signal, just silence. An old cargo ship found floating in space had one word burned into its side. "Quiet." "General," Crack slammed his hand on the table. "We must strike first." But Virex raised his hand. "Strike what? We can't find them, we can't see them. Earth is hiding something. Something large." Ambassador Keltry said quietly, "We should have listened. They warned us. They said if we leave, there is no return. Now they've left." More reports arrived. Human colonies were still active, but shielded. Their defense systems had evolved. Their ships no longer used known Council tech patterns. They had changed everything. Council leaders met in secret. "They're building something new," said one leader. "Or they already built it," replied another. General Krax finally admitted what others feared. 10 years ago, I saw human engineers do in 1 month what would take us a year. They're faster than us, smarter in war." Someone asked, "Then why haven't they attacked yet?" Silence. Then Keltry whispered, "Because when humans attack, they make sure no one survives to tell the story." The Council ordered one last mission, a deep infiltration ship, small, fast, invisible. It would enter Earth's orbit, stay hidden, and observe. 3 days later, the ship sent a single final message. They are not preparing for war. They are finished preparing, then nothing. All Council channels went quiet near human space. Probes didn't return. Trade ships vanished. Even pirates stopped entering Earth's regions. A trader ship captain came back from the edge of human space, his face white with fear. "I saw something," he said. "A planet-sized ship." "No such thing exists," replied the Council. "It does now," the captain whispered. "It was black, silent, and it moved like it was alive." More fear spread. Some Council members begged for peace talks. Others wanted to surrender now before it was too late. But the humans weren't answering. They weren't speaking. They weren't negotiating. They were watching. Virek stood before the council. Long ago we called them newborns in space. We thought they were weak. But humans have always been one thing. He paused. Dangerous when ignored. Keltry nodded. They don't need thousands of ships, they need one good plan, and I think they already made it. Now the council was scrambling. Fortresses were being built, defense grids powered up, fleets were recalled. But deep inside, they all felt the same fear. What if it was already too late? In a quiet room far from the main council floor, a message appeared on a hidden console. No one knew how it got there. It simply read, "You laughed. We listened. Now we act." The lights in the room dimmed. Somewhere in deep space, human machines began to move. They had no flags. They had no names. They only had one mission, and they were already on their way. Across the stars, the council was falling into chaos. Fear had turned into panic. No one trusted each other now. Everyone was asking the same question. What are the humans planning? No one had answers. The humans had gone quiet. Their systems were locked. Their fleets had vanished. Their last words still echoed in the council's memory. You had your chance. The council decided to try something different. This time they wouldn't send a big team. No ships with flags, no loud greetings. Just a small, fast group of spies. Quiet, careful, trained in stealth. Their target, Earth itself. The mission was dangerous, but they needed to know. What had Earth become? 3 agents were chosen. 1 Thaler, 1 Zalani, and 1 from a species called Varn. All were highly trained and had studied human behavior. They flew to Earth in a small black ship. The journey was silent. Everyone inside was tense. When they reached the edge of Earth's solar system, something strange happened. There were no warning signals, no patrols, no response. The space around Earth was quiet. Too quiet. Is it abandoned? The Varn pilot asked. No, the Thaler agent said. Look. Around Earth's orbit were small dots, moving slowly, carefully. Machines, satellites, unknown tech. Nothing like the council had seen before. Don't get close, warned the Zalani spy. They're watching. The pilot guided the ship toward Earth's shadow, where scanners would have a harder time spotting them. Slowly, they began scanning the planet's surface. That's when they saw it. Earth's cities, once full of lights and movement, were now quiet. No cars, no people, no sound. Just dark buildings under cloudy skies. But power still flowed. Systems were still active. Giant machines moved through empty streets, silent and smooth like ghosts. There are no humans, whispered the Thaler. Where did they go? They landed outside a city called New Paris. The place looked untouched. No signs of war. No damage. Just empty. The agent stepped out, scanning every street. Then the Varn spy found something strange, writing on a wall, carved in metal by something sharp. It read, "We chose silence. You chose arrogance." They moved deeper into the city. Streetlights flickered to life as they passed, tracking their movement. Cameras turned to watch them. "It knows we're here," the Zalani whispered. "Not it," said the Thaler. "They." Suddenly, a voice spoke through the city's speaker system. Calm, human. "You do not belong here." The agents froze. "You had many chances, you used none of them. Now we do the same." Then silence. The spies ran back to the ship, but when they arrived, the Varn pilot stopped in shock. The ship's systems were dead. Cut off. Locked. A small drone floated in the air, watching them. It had no weapons, no lights, just a single red eye. "Message received," it said. "Return not allowed." Before they could react, a flash of light filled the sky. A pulse of energy hit the ground, nearby. Not an attack, but a warning. The agents took cover, hearts pounding. "We have to get out," said the Zalani. "How?" asked the Thaler. They control everything here. That night, they hid in a building. They saw more drones pass through. The sky, silent, smooth, emotionless. And then they saw something else. A giant machine walking on two legs like a human passed through the city. It was black, almost invisible in the dark. It didn't make a sound. It paused for a moment, looking straight at them. Then it moved on. The Zilani shivered. That wasn't a drone. That was something worse. Back at the council, days passed. The spy team didn't return. Their ship was gone. Not destroyed, just no signal. Then one day a new signal appeared. A simple package of data. It was a video file. Council members gathered in silence as the screen came to life. It showed Earth, quiet, cold, and full of machines. Then it showed the three spies standing in front of a drone, their faces calm. A voice spoke from off-screen. Your spies are alive, but they are not allowed to leave. Council members leaned forward. You wanted to see what we became. You thought we were weak. We gave you warnings. You laughed. The video ended with one final sentence, written in red. Now, you see. That was all. Council leader Virex stood up. He looked around the room. No one spoke. We didn't just make an enemy, he said slowly. We made something worse. Keltry nodded. We made humans stop talking. And when humans stop talking, said another general, they start finishing things. The council was quiet. For the first time in years, they were afraid not of war, but of silence. And in that silence, the humans were watching. The council was falling apart. Meetings were no longer calm. Leaders shouted. Some begged for peace. Others demanded war. But no one had answers. Every probe sent to Earth vanished. Every spy mission failed. The humans said nothing, and that silence was louder than any weapon. Council leader Virex stared at the screen in front of him. It showed Earth, still turning slowly in space, still quiet, still watching. We don't know what they're planning, he said to the council generals. And that's what scares me the most. Ambassador Keltry sat beside him, looking tired. We pushed them too far. We ignored their warnings. And now, they don't care what we want anymore. General Crack slammed his hand on the table. Then we strike now. Destroy their systems before they strike us. With what? Virex asked. Every time we try to scan their systems, we fail. Every time we send ships, they disappear. Keltry added, and if we strike first, we will only confirm what they already believe, that we never wanted peace. In secret, the Council sent one last advanced warship to Earth's outer edge. The mission was not to fight, but to test something, a new weapon. It was called the Shard, a small device that could send a pulse strong enough to shut down machines from orbit. If Earth was using drones and AI as everyone feared, the Shard would disable them. The warship reached the edge of Earth's system. It stayed hidden behind a small moon. The captain activated the weapon. A quiet hum filled the ship. Then they launched the pulse toward Earth. It flew silently, fast, clean, and invisible. The crew waited. 30 seconds passed. Then something strange happened. The weapon disappeared. Not exploded, not blocked, erased. The ship's sensors glitched. Lights flickered. The crew panicked. And then, a voice filled the warship. It wasn't loud. It wasn't angry. It was calm. We see you. Every screen on the ship showed the same message. A red circle spinning slowly. Then the engine stopped. The warship floated, dead in space. Back at Council Command, all contact with the ship was lost. Again. Now the panic spread faster. Whole planets began to prepare for evacuation. Civilian ships fled outer systems. Council fleets pulled back. No one trusted their borders anymore. They're not just hiding, said Keltry. They're controlling space. How? Virex asked. How did they build something this powerful, this fast? No one could answer. A scientist stepped forward. He held a small device showing a timeline of Earth's growth. It had been updated with new secret information. After the council first insulted them, he said, they stopped sharing tech. They went quiet. They built their own systems, better ones. They stopped asking us for help. While we laughed, they learned. He pressed a button. The screen showed dozens of black ships, unlike anything in council records, sleek, silent, sharp. They've created a new kind of fleet, the scientist said. We don't know how many, or where they are, but they are, not using standard space paths. They're using shadows, whispered Keltry. General Krax growled. So what now? Do we just wait for them to strike? No, Virex said quietly. We prepare. We use what we know. We strengthen our systems. And we watch. But even as he spoke, something else happened. One by one, council satellites began to shut down, in over 23 systems, at the same time. No explosions, no warnings, just black screens. Then came a single message, seen across all military stations. System test complete. Nothing more. And then, as fast as it came, the message vanished. Council leaders were frozen in place. Did they just test us? One officer whispered. Keltry looked around the room. It wasn't an attack. It was a demonstration. A quiet way to say, we're already inside your systems. Ships began reporting strange errors. Some weapons would not respond. Some defense systems rebooted randomly. The humans hadn't fired a single shot, but they had already entered the Council's networks, not to destroy, just to show that they could. They've made their move, said Virex. No, corrected Keltry. This was not their move. This was the last warning. And we ignored it again. Now fear spread across the galaxy. Not from war, but from the unknown, from silence, from power hidden in the dark. The Council didn't know when the real strike would come. They didn't know what it would look like or how to stop it. But somewhere, out in space, the humans were watching and waiting. And they were no longer asking for peace. They were simply preparing to end the conversation. Forever. The galaxy was holding its breath. No war had started. No cities were destroyed. No ships were burning. But still, everything was changing. The humans hadn't spoken again. They hadn't sent ships or ambassadors. They didn't answer messages. They didn't ask for peace, but they also didn't attack. They simply watched. And yet, across the Council's territory, systems were failing. Small things at first, scanners blinking out, patrol paths corrupted, trade lanes reprogrammed. Then larger things, defense systems going offline, weapons not locking on. And worse, entire fleets getting lost in their own space. The Council was not fighting a normal war. There were no battles, no lasers, no fire. It was like the humans had become ghosts inside their machines, silent, deadly, invisible. Ambassador Keltry sat alone in her private room, watching a report scroll across the screen. Another outpost near human space had gone dark. No sign of a fight. Just gone. She whispered, "They don't even need to fire, they are just turning everything off." Council leader Virex called for a full emergency session. Everyone came, even leaders who hadn't attended meetings in years. He stood in front of them all, tired, grim. "We are not at war," he said, "but we are not at peace either." He pointed to the screen behind him. It showed a map of the galaxy, red dots, council systems, blue dots, neutral zones, and now, black dots, human-controlled zones. The black dots were spreading. Fast. One council general stood up. "They are taking systems without firing. Colonies are leaving us. Whole planets are joining their side." "They don't even ask for help," another said. "They just offer silence. And people choose it." Virex nodded. "Because silence is safe. With us, they fear war. With humans, they fear nothing." Keltry stood. "The humans are building something bigger than an army. They are building order." "What do you mean?" someone asked. She pointed to a new report. In two systems where the Council had failed to stop pirates for years, those pirates had disappeared. Not killed, not captured, just gone. And now those systems were running perfectly. Trade was smooth, power was stable, crime was zero, no sign of any human soldiers, no new laws. Just one small message sent to local leaders: "We are watching, act with care." And that was enough. The Council began receiving messages from colonies. They didn't ask for protection. They didn't ask for help. They asked how to join. The silence. Virex whispered, "They are not attacking us. They are replacing us." Now, even Council members started to panic. Some leaders quietly sent messages to Earth, asking for talks, begging for a meeting. No replies came. The humans were done talking. And still, no one knew where their main fleet was. No one had seen Earth's defense systems up close. No one had returned from the inner human zones. Then one day a signal came from deep space. It was not from the humans. It was from a forgotten species, the Draylane. A race once considered dead, wiped out by war long ago. The Council opened the message. It showed a video. A giant machine, black as space, moving through a Draylane system. The Draylane were hiding, watching. The machine didn't attack. It didn't speak. It simply dropped something. A cube. The cube opened. Inside, food, tools, and a simple data chip. The data chip had one sentence in many languages. "We do not destroy the weak. We offer strength in silence." The Draylane, silent for decades, responded with one word: understood. Now even the Council's oldest beliefs were breaking. "We thought they would come with war," said Keltry, "but instead, they came with control, and kindness, and fear." The Council leaders argued again. Some wanted to surrender. Some wanted to strike before more systems fell under human influence. General Crack stood up, angry. "They are infecting our people with fear. They make us weak." Keltry shook her head. "No, they are showing us how weak we already were." Council leader Virex looked at the map again. More black dots, more silence, and then a new message appeared, across all Council channels. It was not a threat. It was not a demand. It was a statement. "You taught us that talking was useless. So we stopped. Now we show. You rule with words. We rule with actions. We do not conquer. We replace." The message ended with a final line. "You called us children, but now the children have grown, and they remember everything." Virex stared at the screen for a long time. No one said a word, because now they knew the humans were not coming. They were already here, and soon there would be nothing left to stop them. Silence ruled the stars. More and more systems were falling quiet, not from war, but from choice. Colonies that once flew the Council's flag were now dark. Their signals changed. They no longer asked for help. They no longer sent reports. They no longer followed Council orders. Instead, they followed only one rule: do nothing to be noticed. And the Council understood what that meant now. If humans noticed you, you were already too late. Council leader Virex stood in the main war room watching the latest reports. 10 more colonies had dropped out of communication. 4 Council ships had gone missing, again without battle, without warning. A new kind of fear had taken over, not fear of attack, fear of silence. Keltry entered the room. Her face was pale. "They've done it again," she said. "What now?" Virex asked. "They reached the Veltron border. 4 systems gave up their weapons. Their leaders resigned. They handed over control to no one." "What do you mean?" "They said humans didn't ask for control. They just made everyone understand it was better that way." Virex rubbed his eyes. "We're not fighting an army. We're watching the galaxy decide the humans are better without needing to be told." Keltry nodded. "They don't need to conquer. People are choosing them." The room fell silent. Then a message came through. encrypted, direct, and terrifying. It came from inside the council itself, from a commander stationed near the dead systems. His voice was shaking, his eyes wide. "You were right," he said. "They're building something." The feed flickered. Behind him, a giant shadow moved. Slow, massive. I saw it. It wasn't a ship. It wasn't a station. It was something in between. Living metal, moving like it was alive. We tried to scan it, our systems burned out. He leaned close to the screen. "I think it saw me. Not my ship. Me. It looked right through me." Another tremble shook the camera. Red lights flashed behind him. "I'm not afraid of dying. I'm afraid of what's coming after." Then static, the feed cut. Everyone stared. No one spoke. The fear was now inside the council's own walls. They weren't just losing control of the galaxy. They were losing control of themselves. That night, Keltry sat alone in her office. She opened a secret message she had never shown anyone, not even Virex. It was old. From a human scientist she had known many years ago, back when Earth was still part of the Council. The message had been sent just after the first Council insult. "Read. We warned them, told them we wouldn't fight their way, told them silence would come next. They laughed. But they don't understand humans. We don't stop when we're angry. We stop when we're finished." Keltry stared at the words for a long time. She remembered how the Council treated Earth back then, like a child, like a joke, like a problem. And now, Earth had become something else. Not a threat, a force, a shape in the dark that no one could stop. Across the stars, Council ships began turning inward. No longer exploring, no longer patrolling, they were hiding. On one remote planet, a group of soldiers tried to resist. They declared war on humans. They posted videos shouting into the void, calling Earth cowards. For 2 days, nothing happened. Then, all at once, the planet's atmosphere darkened. Not from bombs, not from lasers, from shadows. Dozens of black objects appeared in orbit. Silent, motionless. For 10 minutes, they did nothing. Then one message appeared on every screen, every wall, even in the sky. Request received, response denied, and then they vanished. The soldiers never spoke again, not because they were dead, but because they had nothing left to say. Back in the Council's capital, people began to whisper. They whispered in quiet rooms, in locked chambers, in corners where they hoped the shadows didn't reach. They whispered the one thing no one wanted to admit. Maybe it's already over. But Virex wasn't ready to give up. He gathered his last advisors. "We can't beat them with ships," he said. "We can't find their bases, we can't track their fleets," he pointed to a map. "But we can find the minds behind this, the architects, the creators. Someone, somewhere, is leading this silence." Keltry looked up. "You want to find the human leaders?" "Yes," Virex said. "If we can talk to them, show them we understand, we might stop what's coming." Keltry sighed. "You don't get it. They already know we understand. That's why they're not answering." Virex slammed his hand on the table. "Then we make them listen. One last mission. One last message." The room fell quiet again, because they all knew. The last time humans spoke, they gave a warning. And now, the next time they speak, it might be the end of everything. The Council sent one last ship. It was not a warship. It had no weapons, no soldiers, and no threats. Only one person was aboard, Ambassador Keltry. She had served the Council for 40 years. She had met the humans before they left. She was the only one they might listen to, if anyone. The mission was simple: find Earth, send a message, ask for peace or mercy. But everyone knew the truth. This was not a mission of hope. It was a mission of surrender. The ship moved slowly through deep space. It passed the broken colonies, the silent systems, and the black zones now under human control. No one stopped her. No one responded. The closer she came to Earth, the stranger space became. Her sensors picked up shapes, but they were not ships. They were structures, Massive rings floating in space powered by something unknown. Whole systems built around silence, order, and light. Nothing moved unless it had purpose. Nothing shined unless it was needed. Keltry whispered, "This is not war. This is design." Then she saw it. Earth. Still beautiful. Still blue and green. But above it hung something new. A structure so large it made moons look like dust. A black tower reaching into space. Silent. Watching. She sent her message. Not a speech. Not a speech of politics, just 4 words. We were wrong. Help. No reply came. For 3 hours, her ship floated quietly in orbit, waiting. Then the ship powered down. Not broken, just paused. The screen in front of her lit up. A symbol appeared. The same red circle, then a voice, calm, not angry. "Ambassador Keltry, we remember you." She took a deep breath. "You've taken everything," she said. "The systems, the people, even our fear." The voice replied, "We didn't take. You gave it away." Keltry nodded slowly. "What now?" "Now the council ends." She closed her eyes. "Will you destroy us?" The voice paused, then replied, "There's nothing left to destroy." And then her ship turned on again. The engines were working, the systems were clean, the course was already set. Back to the council homeworld. But Keltry understood. She was not being spared, she was being sent home. To witness the end. Back on the council homeworld, things were worse than ever. No one listened to orders. No one trusted the leaders. Ships refused to launch. Colonies stopped sending resources. And then it happened. Every screen across every system turned black. Then white. Text appeared. Final transmission. Everyone froze. The humans were speaking. One last time. The message was simple. You ended the talks. You ignored the warning. You taught us silence was stronger than words. Now silence is all that remains. And then they came. But not with fire, not with war, with light. Across 100 council systems, black ships appeared. They did not fire, they did not speak. They simply arrived, and every council ship turned off. Every defense system failed. Every screen went dark. And when the light returned, the council was no more. No fighting, no blood, no battles, just silence. The humans had not destroyed the council. They had erased it, its power, its fear, its pride, gone. And in its place, a new order spread. No laws, just quiet. No rulers, just watchers. Some systems joined freely. Others stayed still, afraid to be noticed. But none resisted. Because now, the galaxy understood. The humans didn't want revenge. They didn't want control. They wanted peace. But on their terms, and in their peace, there was no room for noise, no room for threats, no room for the old ways. Keltry returned to what remained of the council. She stood in the middle of the ruined hall where leaders once ruled. No one was there. Just silence. She looked up at the stars and whispered, "We should have listened." And somewhere far away, someone heard her. But they did not answer, because the humans had spoken their last words. And now, the galaxy belonged to silence. Forever.